Indeed, God is present here and now. And in the awareness of God's presence, let us pray. Father, Mother God, we give thanks. We give thanks. And so it is. Amen. I just realized that I need more walking room. There we go. You did not? Okay. It's just an animation on a slide, so not a problem. Thank you. Thank you for trying. Gratitude, passive or active? I know I was taught, and perhaps many of you were also taught from an early age about those, quote, two magic words, please and thank you. Right? I say two. So please and thank you. We often treat them magically. I have my granddaughter, Mackenzie. She's 3 years old. She's in preschool this year, and they're teaching them about the two magic words. I don't know. I guess preschool, you can't count to three yet. I don't know. But anyway, the idea that these are magic words, I think we take literally. I know Mackenzie uses those magic words as she is expressing her newfound control. She will stand in the hallway, spreading her feet and hands, and say, "Grandpa, what's the password?" And the password is please and thank you, right? And that's a means that she has of this control of, I'm not going to let you pass until you say those magic words. But I think that we use those words also as tools of control, right? We say please if we want someone to do our bidding, and we say thank you in a perfunctory manner to, thank you for opening the door for me, or thank you for letting me into the lane of traffic, or someone picks up something for us and we say thank you, without really feeling the feeling behind those words. And the feeling behind those words are really the way in which we condition and elevate our consciousness. So we use these words. Sometimes we use these words in a magical context. Well, several weeks ago, I was up at the DMV here at 64th and Watts getting a license plate. And it was third or fourth of the month, and it was full. If you've ever been in this DMV up here, they have, I guess they're church pews or something, but they're benches all around the lobby area, and people come in, they take a number, they walk over to some place that's somewhat vacant, and they sit halfway between the two people because they don't want to impose, or they don't want to get fresh with a stranger. Well, as I was sitting there reading my cell phone, doing whatever I did to pass the time, I noticed that the place was really getting full. And a young black woman came in. She got her number, and she walked down looking for a place to sit. And frankly, there was the only way that she could have sat down is if people would have scooted, right? But no, that's not going to happen. So one fellow, I noticed him earlier. I had noticed him because he had several nose rings. He had a tattoo around his neck, and I got the impression from a partially open shirt that his chest was tattooed. I saw tattoos on the back of his hands, just below his wrist. And he popped up, and he offered his seat to the woman. And it turns out that I actually was about ready to stand up. So I'll take some credit for that, please. But he was up just like that. And so after he stood up and she sat down, I went over to him and I said, "Thank you. That was impressive. Very rarely do I see that happen." And his face just lit up. It was a broad smile. His eyes sparkled. And he said, "Well, my mom taught me." And I said, "Tell her good job." So that opportunity that I had to thank him for what he did was what I would refer to as active appreciation, right? You actually do something to express your appreciation for something that was done, either for you or by someone else for someone else. So this idea of passive and active gratitude, I think too often we are passive in our gratitude, that we have the opportunity to be more active. And I'm looking for my controller of the universe. There it is. Okay. I know it's switched on. Okay. Literally control of the universe. Meister Eckhart offered this back in the early 15th century. He says, or the early 14th century. He said, if the only prayer you say in your life is thank you, that would suffice. Now, in Unity, we consider prayer to be a tool of elevating consciousness. And this idea that the only prayer is a prayer of gratitude is true. I mean, it follows along with the New Thought teachings that indeed we have the opportunity to look upon our experience as either a glass half full or a glass half empty, right? You've heard that worn out metaphor. Or is that an allegory? Anyway, you've heard that before. And indeed, we have the opportunity that we often pass up because we are in the habit of saying thank you for the open door, or we say thank you when someone gives us something unexpectedly. But we don't really feel it. We don't really engage that appreciation at the heart level. And what I'm suggesting, and as Meister Eckhart is suggesting, is that gratitude sincerely offered, fully felt, is a way of elevating our consciousness. It's a way of elevating our consciousness because the dynamics that each of us experience, and we can test this. We can test this by consciously practicing this. But in Unity, we have the 5 principles. I call them the 5 pillars of faith, with recognition to our Islamic friends. The first is the premise that there is one power and one presence, God the good, omnipotence. The second is a proposition that the one Son of God, the Christ, abides in each of us. And this proposition is one that, in fact, we can test. So we have the process of the thoughts we hold in mind manifest in our experience. We have the practice of the tools of transformation of consciousness, our prayer, meditation, denials, and affirmations. And we change our lives by applying these principles, which is the promise. So we can test this idea that the thoughts we hold in mind manifest in our experience by practicing positive thoughts, practicing thoughts of gratitude, practicing thoughts that are expansive, that are uplifting, thoughts that, in fact, we are, in some cases, we are assuming them before we actually realize them, right? We assume the abundance before we realize it, but assuming the abundance is not about dreaming, or it's not about accepting a falsehood, but rather it is accepting a perspective that will actually open the door for us to the realization of that which we are holding in mind. So the thoughts we hold in mind manifest in our experience is a very important process that we can practice. And so as we come into this Thanksgiving week, and you know we don't have to do this. By the way, are the gratitude journals passed out yet? Does anyone have gratitude journal? Barb, could you? Okay, thank you. We'll double team this and get it done. So the conscious practice of, there should be more. Does everyone have a gratitude journal? Some of you do, some of you don't. Okay, well, there should be enough. So each of you have one. So this conscious practice of identifying things for which we can be grateful, things for which we appreciate. And for each day, starting tomorrow through Christmas, there are blanks there by date to allow you to identify 4 things that you're thankful for and at least one person that you're thankful for. Okay? And if you read the inside of the front cover, you'll see that it's recommended that you not use someone in your family, but to stretch beyond your family. I mean, you could find 31 people in your family that you would be thankful for, right? But stretch. And it could be the clerk in the grocery store. It could be the person standing up at the DMV. It could be anyone that you run across in your life that you have no particular cause to be thankful for, but you've identified them as someone who has actually contributed to your life. Again, easy to go with family. Most people have 31 people in their family, and if nothing else, they feel obligated to list them. So I suggest you not use people in your family. But the point of the practice is to allow your own identity or your identification of those things that are in your life that you might say, oh, that's wonderful, without really grokking that, without really feeling that at the center of your being. Well, Forbes magazine back in, I think it was 2014, had this list of benefits of gratitude, and these are based upon psychological studies. The first benefit is that it opens the door to more relationships. For instance, when I went over to the fella and thanked him for doing that, and to see the glow that came to his face, that was really attractive to me. You know, I looked at that and I literally almost cried because of the connection that we had at that moment when I said, well done. And he said, my mama taught me well. So it opens the door to new relationships, because what that does when you are expressing thanks from the heart, when you are feeling the thanks as you are expressing it, what you're doing is you are dissolving the wall of separation. You're dissolving the defenses that the other person might have. You know, here comes a stranger, right? A long-haired, bearded fella, old guy with a hat on, and he comes up to me and he says, thank you. Whoa, right? So stretch yourself. Be willing to open up and go out there and say thank you and mean it. Feel it from the bottom of your heart. The next is it improves physical health. And the way it improves physical health is that it actually reduces stress. As you express appreciation, you are, in fact, allowing the stress hormones to subside. As you are being thanked, you also, like his glowing face, demonstrate that his stresses were subsiding. It improves psychological health. The psychological health is one that you are starting to, first of all, you're starting to let your defenses drop, and it allows you to be more open to the wonder that is all around us, the beauty that is all around us. It enhances empathy and reduces aggression. As you are expressing this gratitude, you are indeed saying, okay, this is wonderful for me. How is it for you, right? I mean, you don't have to ask that question, but what you're doing as you do that is that you're connecting, and that connection allows that increased empathy. It reduces the aggression, and God knows we need that today. It improves the quality of sleep, partly because it reduces stress. But as you go to sleep, you might want to take out your gratitude journal, and you might just want to look back over the day and see the several things that you are grateful for, and spend some time just feeling it. I come back to this concept of feeling the appreciation, because it is the feeling nature that we are able to bring ourselves into the present moment. We can't feel anything yesterday, and we can't feel anything tomorrow, right? We can stress about tomorrow, or we can regret about the past. But to feel is to bring you into the present moment. And that practice of identifying the things for which you're grateful for prepares your consciousness for restful sleep. So as you look at the opportunity with your gratitude journal to fall asleep with these ideas in mind of what you're thankful for, you're preparing yourself for waking up in a thankful mood, for waking up with an open mind of what glory is going to happen today. It improves self-esteem. It improves self-esteem partly because you have demonstrated your willingness to be open and receptive to what is happening out there. And that self-esteem is an important part of giving yourself the permission to grow and to change. And it enhances trauma recovery, partly because of the psychological benefits, partly because of the quality of sleep benefits, partly because of the reduced aggression. But it is it's a tonic for your mind. It's a tonic for your consciousness. So these 7 benefits that are identified by psychologists that study people who have various levels of gratitude on a habitual basis, these are things that are easy for us to do. They're easy for us to do. Once we get past our defenses, once we're willing to step out behind the wall that we've built around ourselves, once we're able to get out there and begin to relate on a heart level with other people, we will find that our lives open up, that the opportunities suddenly appear. It's not because they magically appear. It's because we have opened our eyes to be able to see those things that are available to us all the time. So, Paul offered us this. In 1 Thessalonians, he says, and this is near the end of the letter, as you probably know, but I'll say it anyway, that these letters from Paul are letters that were sent to the ministries that some of the ministries that he formed as he was trekking around the eastern and northern Mediterranean. And he will get letters from these congregations, from these communities, complaining about things, right? You'll often see in these letters where he talks about specific things that need to be done for that community. And those were typically stimulated by people writing to him to say, you know, George, he's not doing this, and we got this couple in the community that are, you know, they're just off the wall, and I don't know how to handle. So what he's doing is he's advising. So, but we appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in 1 Thessalonians 5:12-21. But we appeal to you, brothers and sisters, to respect those who labor among you and have charge of you in the Lord and admonish you. Esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. And we urge you, beloved, to admonish the idlers, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with all of them. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to all. Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Do not quench the spirit. Do not despise the words of prophets, but test everything. Hold fast to what is good. Abstain from every form of evil. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. Give thanks. And as our psychologists have identified, there are many reasons for us to give thanks. And all of those reasons, as Paul alluded to here in Thessalonians, all of these reasons are reasons that help us. It's not about doing something for the outside. It's about doing something for ourselves. And in doing something for ourselves, growing and building our own consciousness, what we are then able to do is to convey that consciousness to those around us, right? While I didn't follow him home, I'm guessing that the fellow that I approached at the DMV may in fact think about that from time to time. And when he thinks about that, chances are he's going to say, oh, you know, yeah, I really do good. I may be tattooed all over. I may have nose rings coming up one side and down the other of my nostrils. I may have things hanging from my ears. I may have my body painted with indelible ink. But I am a good person, right? How much can you improve the self-esteem of others by saying thank you and meaning it? Not passively, but actively, from the heart, to express. You know, someone opens the door for you, and you might say thank you. Or you might stop. You might look them in the eye, and you might pat your chest and say thank you. That's an active gratitude. You see, you're doing something out of the ordinary. You're doing something that is unexpected. But you're doing something that lifts and that elevates the other person, makes them feel good, makes them feel God. So this process of active gratitude is, as I said, it's cheap. And it is so powerful. Not just for the people around you, but for yourself. It elevates your consciousness. It allows you to expand into a greater appreciation. Even expressing gratitude allows you to move into a greater level of appreciation for each and every aspect of your life. And truly, each of us is blessed. We'll have our meditation as we come in. Allow ourselves to step into this sacred moment. Let us consider all of the things that happen around us, sometimes to us, sometimes because of us. But all of these situations, all of these relationships, all of these opportunities that we have to realize the sacred moment, we are blessed. We are lifted and transformed. So breathing into these opportunities, stepping into them consciously, offering our thanks, reveling in the wonder and the blessings that are available to each of us. Breathing in, breathing out. Let us practice identifying the good. Let us practice pulling out these remarkable activities, these wonderful relationships, the benefits that we receive from others, from the universe. And just pause, if only for a breath, to pause and appreciate to feel from our hearts that which we have been blessed. So look back over your last day or your last several days. Just consider all of the blessings that you have received. The favors that have been bestowed upon you. The lessons that you have learned. The opportunities that have arisen. The relationships that have been either discovered or enhanced by a word, by a deed. And feel that appreciation for those perhaps incidental or perhaps salient events. That practice opens us up to recognizing even more blessings that we receive. And as we realize those greater blessings, the gratitude that follows on opens us up to a new level of experiencing the blessings and the gratitude. And what we're doing is we're building a structure, gratitude by gratitude, of a life filled with blessings, enhanced relationships, improved health, reduced stress. Time after time after time, we are expanding our consciousness, we're expanding our awareness of how glorious, how wonderful this experience in consciousness is. Breathing into that, feeling that at the core of our being, we come back into this time and space, sharing the words of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which and we'll take an offering for unity now. As we take our offerings in our hands, let us bless them with this offering statement. Together, please. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And once again, Trinity Damask in your reverence.
So this tune was written by my friend